Hey, everybody. This is Tony, and I'm here today with a special guest, Miss CeCe Peniston. How are you today?
I'm doing good, and yourself?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Now, CeCe, everybody knows you as the dance hit diva. You've had singles and hits like Finally and Keep on Walking, among others. And I know that you started out singing in the church, and then you later on went on to become a model?
Well, doing pageants. I was doing beauty pageants.
Okay. And then how did you exactly get started in the music industry after that?
Actually, you know what? I was doing like music before I was doing pageants, but I thought it was a great vessel for me to like do beauty pageants because I felt like that would make me more polished. You know how you can sing, but you may not know how to interpret on stage as comfortably as you'd like. And for that, I was like, you know, if I'm going to be in the music business, I'm going to have to do interviews. I'm going to have to look like I'm poised on stage, look like I'm calm, cool, and like a cucumber. And so I decided to do that because I got to play Barbie, and then I got to, you know, do the pageants to make me like a greater musician and a performer, entertainer.
Okay. And then, so taking back, we go through that being in pageants, you know, you said you were doing music already a little bit before that. But how do we get to being signed to A&M Records, and then we get to the single Finally?
Basically what happened is I was doing a lot of songs around Arizona, and my first time, like I would do shows, so people would contract me, they're like, hey, we'll pay you, you know, your little $1,500, you know, you can get that much back then because you were like, you know, get your little school shoe money, you were happy, right? And so I would do all those kind of contests. People got a chance to know me. I went in the studio when I was like 19, and I did this song with Marvelous JC called Give It All You Got. And then people heard that song, and then they were like, oh, we know CeCe. She does a lot of stuff. So Overweight Pooch, who was on A&M Records at the time, she was doing a record, and Wax was like, it's Felipe Wax Delgado. He was like, hey, I need you to do some backgrounds for her. And I did the backgrounds. They loved it. They said, well, do you have any other songs? Because you are straight fiercing it in the background. But A&R was like, she is fiercing it in the back. And I gave them Finally, and they loved it, and here I am.
All right. And then the song Finally was obviously a big hit. It was #1 for you, and it's still carrying you to this day. And it's still recognizable. You know, if you put that on in the club right now or anywhere, somebody going to dance to it. So it still it has stood the test of time, excuse me.
Man, thank you so much. I just got a campaign with Hasbro that's coming out on Saturday, the toy company, where all the little action figures are dancing to Finally. And I was like really surprised. I'm like, y'all doing YMCA up in here. I'm on Hasbro, okay? I posted it today on my IG.
Okay. That's a great situation to be in. You know, especially with like I said, that song came out in the early '90s, and people are still using it right now today. So it shows that it was quality. And I know that you wrote that song yourself, right?
Yes.
Okay. And where did you get the inspiration from for that song?
You know, it was funny because I was in college, and first of all, I was in chemistry class, and I was bored, and so I was like writing in class because I was like, damn school at the time. I was like, I'm going to be an artist. I'm going to be an entertainer. And so I was really excited about doing that. And I started writing because I felt like it was a way for me to get my point across. You know, when you're in college, you're like, no one understands how I feel. So you start writing, like it's almost like notes to yourself. And so finally came about because I was in college. I didn't have a man. I had a high school boyfriend. I said, if I found him, what would I say? Finally. And then I said, you know, what would he look like? Brown cocoa skin, curly black hair. And I found him after I wrote it, which was funny. For about a year, we were married.
Right. All right. And then, you know, after that, you had many other successful singles, dance singles. I know that you did the Unsung on TV One, and you spoke about how you felt kind of frustrated when the label kind of put you in a box, and somewhat the public kind of put you in a box after those singles like were released, and you were trying to go in a different direction. So tell me a little bit about that. Like, what was going on? How are you feeling? You know, what was that situation like?
I felt like before like a certain point in the 90s, everyone could just do music and there was no genre. Like after they started saying pop, R&B, all that, and they started putting things in genres like what you had to be, it was like that's what people expected from you. So if I had done Finally, it was like that's what they wanted from now on. And I'm like, no, but wait a minute. I did Inside I Cried. I did Finally. I did Keep on Walking.
Right.
So I had done, you know, a slight bit of slow ballads, jazz type vibes. And then let's say I had done Not Over You, Keep on Walking, which was R&B, and then I had also done dance music. It was like y'all, they were like, you're the queen of house. So it's like I just didn't feel like I should have to be in a box. And people continue that to this day, but I'm like, I refuse to let them. I do a lot of different projects all at one time.
Absolutely.
You know?
And then, like even with the last album that you had on A&M, I'm Moving On, I felt like that was like I was just born then, but
you were a little embryo when finally came out. Look at that.
So, but when that album came out, you know, like you said, you was already at the point with being frustrated because people weren't receiving the music how you needed them to. But as far as like I'm Moving On, like that's one of my favorite songs from you. You know, I love Finally and Keep on Walking and We Got a Love Thing and all those songs, but I'm Moving On is one of my favorites too. And I was like, you know, it's kind of is like a song you just put in your car and you just cruise down the road to. So,
thank you. That's what's up. That was one of my favorite albums. I felt like I was able to be really creative on that album, and I felt like for some people it was too R&B for them, but it could have only maybe been too R&B because to me it wasn't promoted correctly. So you know when something's not promoted correctly, then it's like, oh, well, you went outside the box and you did blah blah blah. Yeah, but you didn't promote it, so you never know what it would have done or what it could have been because you didn't give it the proper love that it could have had.
Absolutely. And then so after that album, you kind of they released the Best of CeCe Peniston album on you, and then you kind of like took a break, and then you know, so what was going on between the break in the early 2000s up to like I want to say like 2011 or somewhere around there?
Well, you know what? Life was happening. I was still performing and all that stuff. Okay. That's the time when people looked at Unsung where I was pregnant and not pregnant. And, you know, there's a lot of different things going on all at one time. And there were so many different things going on at one time. It was like, well, dang, what is it? Yeah, so it was like life was happening, babies were happening, marriage was happening, still performing, but just trying to figure this whole thing out because we were transitioning during that time from social media to streaming to royalties to live performance to artists doing a whole lot of different, you know, genres of music. And and it was like, you know, the music industry had changed a lot with the age groups of children, you know, or artists that were coming out. All that stuff had changed up. And within that time, I would say like around the 2000s, the age group of what they contract entertainers at and just the looks, you know, you being able to become the record company, digital sales were now in place and streaming. So it's like the game was changing all around you. Right.
And you spoke on it a little bit. As far as your personal life was concerned, on the Unsung episode, you also said that you suffered a miscarriage.
Yes.
And then you talked about, you know, your relationships and the divorces that you had and that kind of stuff. How was that to talk about that, you know, on a show like that for you?
It was to me like, and it took me a minute to do it at a point because I feel like you have to be totally vulnerable and understand what's going to come with that. It could be judgment. It could be people not really tripping or going through the same thing and saying, hey, you know what, thank you so much for sharing your story because I had no idea that you were going through that, and that's something I went through, and the fact that you shared it with me helped me to be able to maneuver through my situation. So it was like me becoming really real vulnerable and transparent to people and letting them know, like, hey, even though we're entertainers, we have problems too. We have things going on too. I think it's that point where people I felt got more dialed in with me. Yeah, because I was really private all the time. You know, I don't put my business out on. I'm like put little bit something out here and there. You'll be like, well, think you bad about something.
Well, that's the great thing that I love about Unsung. I know some artists kind of feel like, you know, they shouldn't do it because, you know, it puts them in a certain box or they feel like they're not unsung, but I like it because it profiles the artist in their life and their career. It may not be in totality, but you get a more in-depth look of what happened to the artist. So, as far as business and professional and personal. So that's the reason that I did like it.
Thank you so much. And like what people don't really know is they showed part of it, but people don't understand. Like I really lost like 5 children. It wasn't just one. It was 5. Wow. And so sometimes they saw me and maybe I had just lost a child, but guess what? I'm getting on stage and I'm performing. And, I'm feeling some kind of way and, don't really feel like performing, but, got to take care of business, pay your bills, do what you got to do, and you got to connect with your crowd. But they didn't know, like, I was having a bad day. And sometimes what the audience doesn't realize is when I'm in front of you, sometimes you give me a better day than I had because you love me and you appreciate me. So sometimes you're looking for me and I'm looking for you.
Absolutely. And when like you said, when you're having those days or, it's like sometimes you want to give up or it's just like, I'm not feeling it. What keeps you going? What inspires you to keep going?
Good cry and frustration sometimes. Sometimes I just cry about it. I ask God, like, what do you want me to do? Because I'm out of options. I don't know what you want me to do, and I can't do it on my own. I just have to talk to him. And other times I'm like, I'll talk to other people like, hey, if it was you, what would you do in this situation? Or I'll give myself a day and I'll figure it out and say, okay, I'm ready to put my armor back on. This is what I'm about to do. So.
All right. And I'm glad you mentioned that. Great, because I haven't heard nobody say a great cry ever since I've been doing interviews. Because I always tell people crying can get you a long way.
Yes.
So sometimes people look at me crazy when I say that, but I'm like, no, it really kind of cleanses you a little bit, But
I would definitely say so. In fact, I had a good one yesterday while you were playing. I was frustrated about the situation, and I felt like my spirit is much better today because of it. Because it's like, okay, after the cry, it's like, okay, how many tears you gonna put out? You ain't got nowhere else to go except up.
Right.
Yeah.
People don't understand that, but so I'm glad you did say that. But
they cry too. They just ain't telling you.
Exactly. That's what it is. We have to hide. But like you said, you keep it 100, and I'm glad for that. But as far as your career has gone, you have had to me, it looks like you have had a magnificent career, even with the ups and the downs. Because, like I said, you still have a single right now that people can play, and it's still recognizable. People still dance to it like it just came out yesterday.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
No. Thank you for lending your voice to the world. So thank you. But I explained, I did an interview with Robin S. not too long ago. I know you guys are kind of like friends.
That's a good.
And right. So, and I was explaining that same thing to her because, like, even with Show Me Love, people know who that is the moment the first note comes out.
Right.
And she just spoke to me and kind of told me she felt like she was kind of blackballed somewhat in the industry. But like I told her, if she never sang again, you have done enough.
I felt like that at one point. And you know what my conclusion was? That God is big.
Absolutely.
And God is bigger. God can close doors that man can't open, and God can open doors that man can't close. Absolutely. So whatever was going on at that time, I said it doesn't matter because you were used as a vessel to teach. Your lesson was to learn and to teach.
When you look back over your career, after what you've went through so far, do you have any regrets?
You know what? I'm not the type of person that likes to live on regrets because I always feel like there was a reason why. And if I say I regret it, then there's probably 10 other things that go along with that moment that I should regret too. So it was what it was, and there was a reason why you were chosen. Like there was a reason why I was chosen to be CeCe and do what I do. Right. And so it's like you have to understand that it was already in place before you even realized what it was. So I don't like to live on regrets. Do I wish sometimes things would be a little bit different? Yeah, I would. But then maybe the outcome of who I am and the strength that I have as a woman and as a person would be different as well.
Absolutely. Now, as far as the music, what's going on with music now? What are you doing?
Oh, well, I just did, last year I put out a song. It was kind of like a niche audience, but it was a song called Purple Funk that I did with Mother's Favorite Child that went to number 2 on the Billboard chart. Then I did.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I did Reflections of a Disco Ball, which was, you know, for the LGBT crowd. And then I did another one called I Wish. I also have a single coming out in the next couple of weeks, which I did with Antonio Dixon, Mother's Favorite Child, and we have like 5 different mixes. So we got a dance mix, an EDM mix, like we got like so many different mix, house mix. So new music coming soon. If you look on my ID, I put like a little snippet, but I didn't put everything out.
Okay, sounds good. And as far as like acting, are you looking into getting into that more, or is that something you're looking at?
You know what? I had actually contacted an acting agent, and I got thrown off because I went on the road, and I was actually talking about him yesterday, sending him some pictures, because I feel like at this point in my life, I feel like I could give a realness to acting that probably people really wouldn't understand. Like,
right.
They would see me in a different light, not just as the happy girl from 1991 that We Gotta Love That. You know?
That's absolutely true.
I also do poetry, too, just so you know.
Oh, really?
I've done several poetry sets, and the thing I like about poetry is that you can say your life without people, like, it's not your opinion. It's my opinion.
Right.
And I can be a little more raw in what I say because I'm not being CeCe Peniston at the time. I have a poetry name. Her name is Cadence.
All right, now. That's good. That's a really interesting fact about you. So thank you for mentioning that. And now, as far as your appearance goes, you know, obviously you lost weight, it looks like, and you look great, and you still look young and vibrant, and in fact, you probably look better than ever before. So,
well, I love it. Yes, come on, Betty Button.
right. Is there any tips or tools you're using, you know, to keep weight off or to look as good as you're looking?
You know what? I have started eating less meat for one. I don't eat as much meat. I think because of the hormones, I do more of a vegetable diet. I'm not totally vegan, but I've noticed that my system can't take a lot of different things. I also have worked with a naturopathic doctor, and she told me, like, food allergies that I had. I'm definitely big on water and skincare. I do a lot of skincare, like, every night. Like, I'm one of the people, like, slathering makeup on my face. And people are like, under eye cream, regular cream. Like, I just really try to do that. And then I also just try to do my best to enjoy life. Try to keep my stress level to a minimum. I can't always do it. There's days where I'm better than others, but, you know, I try to keep a young spirit and don't let people tell me, like, just because I'm, 48, oh, you got to act like this now. I'm like, life's robot now? Okay.
Right, because you don't look nowhere near 48, so you're doing just fine.
Well, thank you so much.
You're doing just fine, believe me. And now the music industry and business has changed, obviously, over the last 20 years. So, you know, you have things like social media and streaming services and different things like that. How do you adjust to that kind of thing, coming from the 90s?
You know what? I don't always like to post, but I know it's just part of what comes with the territory. It's like that's how people are in touch with you, by your IG, by your social media. It's like kind of, that's why they call it cell phone, because people are like attached to their phone. And so if you don't post or you're not dialed into what's happening on a regular, everyday basis, you kind of miss the boat, because that's how people communicate what's going on in their world and their life. So I've learned to, you know, I'm not going to do, like, everything. Like, I'm not on LinkedIn, or I had Periscope, but I was like, this is getting too much. I'm going to give Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That's what I have to do. And then I have CeCePeniston.com, and I'm cool. That ain't helping y'all out enough or updating. I don't know.
Hey, you can't do no more.
Right.
I don't blame you on that one. Is there any artists that you would like to work with? Any new artists, old artists, in between artists that you would like to work with?
You know who I've always wanted to work with, and I think because he's like the R&B dance, and I think it would be an interesting combination. Music's so child to me. We did, like, remember the song he did? Da 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 one night, da 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 love of you. Like, and like almost like he and I would do like a Roberta Flack, you know, Donny Hathaway like vibe. I thought it would be an interesting thing. And Calvin Richardson and I had talked about doing something because he's the prince of R&B, and I'm the queen of house, and we actually went in the studio together, so I thought that would be interesting. But, I mean, there's so many people I would just love to work with. I think it would be so interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Just between the two voices that you guys have.
Right. And I worked with Noel, too, in the studio. Noel Jardine. Oh, he has a wonderful voice. You don't even look. He's off the chain. For real.
I believe it. Anybody who's working with you has to be off the chain anyways, because once you open your mouth, it's going to be over with.
Oh, thank you, baby. I appreciate it.
So no, but I mean that seriously, because you have a distinct voice. It's not like anybody else's voice, but it's relatable, and it's a big voice. So you are recognizable. Even if somebody don't know your name, they know your voice.
Well, I appreciate that, definitely. And it's funny because when I was younger, I didn't really realize how much different my voice sounded until I listened one day, and I was like, oh, but it does sound different. You know how you don't listen to yourself like that. Not our artists, you're not going to go back and listen to your own songs every day. But one day I was listening, and I was like, oh, wow, okay. I see what people are talking about right now. But you don't realize that because you're just doing what you naturally do, if that makes sense.
Right. It's just natural to you, so you don't really realize what you said. That is so true. And then I just wanted to talk about a project that you did a while ago with Albertina Walker, and the other ladies that you did it with years ago. That was a charity project, right?
Yes. When I did Sisters of Glory.
Right.
It was Sisters of Glory. Yeah, that was really interesting. To be able to go with like some grace. It was like Albertina Walker. I was like Albertina Walker, Dorothy Norwood. Which gospel grace, and then Phoebe Snow, who's she was a jazz great, and then Mavis Staples and Phoebe Snow, and then was Mavis Staples, Chaka Khan. All these people were in at different times. Diane Reeves were in the mix of doing the different shows. Thelma Houston, and the problem was everyone had their own schedule so much it was hard to bring us together to do so many shows. But we did get a chance to do a show for the Pope John Paul II, and then we had that was in Italy with Andrea Bocelli, the opera singer. So we did that with him, and then we did Woodstock, the brand new Woodstock, and that was interesting. And I actually lost my makeup case in big old Woodstock, and they found it. I was like, praise Jesus, praise him. Oh yeah, I was like, where is my makeup case? I got makeup to do, and they found it. Like an hour later on a cart somewhere.
Wow, that's crazy. But it's good because normally people don't find this stuff when they go to places like that. So that's incredible. Thank God for that.
Right.
And I see also that in 2016, Billboard listed you among the top 100 dance club artists of all time. What is that like to have an honor like that?
Oh, that's such a blessing because you know what? Like I said, all the things that happened, it's funny because I was telling somebody yesterday, it's funny how, when finally first came out, I wouldn't go get a house because I was like, I'm not sure how long this was going to last. So I rode around in a Pathfinder and was living in an apartment even though I had, so much money in the bank because I was like,
right.
God, I don't know what you're about to do with this. And then people would laugh at me. I was like, shoot, you don't understand. And then when it kept going on, then I was like, okay, I can get my house and car now. I mean, it was funny. I was still shopping at Lerner too. Look, I wasn't in my stardom yet, so I'd be like, I'll go to Lerner and still get clothes and do stuff because I was so young. I just was innocent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you were like what, 21 at the time?
I was 21. I had never had a little manicure and pedicure at the time, and I wore these red glasses. These red remember Sally Justin Garfield? She had these red glasses. I was like, I want some glasses just like her. So I would wear those, and people would laugh. I was a little bit of a nerd at the time.
Right. That's cool.
But it was cute because it was innocent and it was real.
That's cool. Do you remember the first time that you ever heard your song on the radio?
Yeah, actually I was at my mom's house and we had a boombox picked out in the kitchen, right? And it was kind of like the 5 heartbeats moment where the song comes on the radio. I was like, Mom, and all I heard was, I can't hear me. I told her, I said, all I heard was, right? And when I heard that, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be rude, I just can't hear. And I told her I heard the song, and when she heard the song, then it was like everybody was going crazy in the house. We were like, oh, snap, finally song. Because, like, remember when Leon and them got out of bed and 5 Power People?
Right. And they started.
And they was, like, dancing around in their pajamas and stuff. Like, it was that kind of moment. If that makes sense.
That must have been an amazing feeling for you to see that at that age, and so much success that you had gained early on before even coming out of your 20s. So that was amazing.
Right.
What kind of advice would you give to new artists starting out?
I would tell new artists, you know what, come already how you want to be. Show people your vision and what you want them to see and what you want them to gather from you, because that'll be the biggest thing that will, inspire people. That'll be the biggest thing that will inspire people is, your look as far as what you want to be, the music that you want to convey, your message. And understand that sometimes you're going to get no, but take the no's as the fuel to the yes. And just keep rolling. Keep following, stay focused on what you have going on.
Absolutely. All right. That's some good advice. And as far as the industry goes, did you face any kind of discrimination coming through your career that you've seen?
There's more. You know what? People used to get on me about my weight because I used to fluctuate a lot. So they used to have a problem with that. And I discussed that on my Unsung. They were like, well, you gained weight or you lost weight. And I'm like, but I wasn't always big. I would have moments of doing that. And that's one thing I didn't want to be the fluctuator. And that's why I decided to do some healthier living, because in the business, what people don't realize is a lot of the sample sizes are 2 and size 4. And I was a little sicky. I had little biscuits and gravy, some breakfasts, But, some people like that and some people didn't. On camera, sometimes it's funny, people would see me in person. They'd be like, you're smaller in person. I'm like, I know, camera adds a lot of different weight, you don't know.
It does. It does.
Because even now I'm like a size 6, and people were like, I've been a size 4. And when I was doing I did a fitness competition in 2014, an NPC bodybuilding competition, and I was like a size 2-4. It's on my Instagram. You can see the pictures of me and my bathing suit and stuff. And, it's like people didn't know I had even done that, because it was like there wasn't a whole lot of pictures put out. They were like, oh, I didn't know that you did that.
That's
so it's that I would say that's the discrimination. The music business likes you to be a certain size for samples and designers, and either you fall into that or you just decide to say, hey, I'm comfortable with me, I'm good with this part of me, and there'll be a designer that likes what I like too.
Exactly. And as far as like your career period, what kind of aspirations are you looking forward to now? And what kind of things are you, what's inspiring you now? And like I said, what are you looking forward to?
To keep performing and to always love it, to always challenge myself and be like moving forward on like different goals, like never be in the box. Don't worry about what people say. Always find something new that people find interesting and that I find interesting. And most of all, to continue to love what I do, not just do it out of habit, not just do it because people expect it, but actually continue to love and feel blessed by, the career that I have and be able to touch people. Continue to evolve, basically.
Right. And I know I asked you what kind of advice would you give a new artist, but what was some of the best advice that you received as an artist? Follow your dreams. Don't let anybody take off your focus, because there's a lot of people that are content. And just because that's their dream or their take on things doesn't mean that that's yours. People say, well, I wouldn't do it that way. And be like, and that's why you and me are different. Just because you wouldn't do it like they do. It's funny, I find that people almost get an attitude, well, that's not the way I would do it. Well, just because you wouldn't do it that way doesn't mean that it doesn't work. We just might get there 2 different ways with the same result. Absolutely.
So, people need to let people be individuals and quit trying to control you and say, hey, this is my advice. That God was doing it. I would add this to it. You can take it or you cannot take it, but this is my interjecting. They get almost like agitated with you because you won't do what they say. I don't know.
Right. They want it to go their way because
mean?
they want you to be shaped in the way that they want you to go.
Right.
And like you said, it doesn't always go like that because we can't follow everything people tell us to follow because we won't have our own identities then. So yeah, that's absolutely true. And then I just wanted to ask you, like, who are some of your friends in the music business?
Robin, of course. Dina Howard is one of my girls. Shanice, we don't always talk all the time, but I'm cool with her. And Ultra Nate, those are some of my girls. Yep. All
right. That's a good list. And I know and of course you're ranked amongst the greats in house and dance music and in music period. Like Sybil and Crystal Waters and Robin S, of course, and those kind of women. So you guys are all in good company.
Yep, and those are all women I love, and respect.
Right. So, like I said, you all have songs that will live on forever because "Show Me Love" will forever be played and still sampled, and finally it's still being played and still being received right now today. And "Don't Make Me Over" and "Love on Civil" and Crystal
You want
Waters.
to hear something funny?
What?
Me and Robin, I said, "Hey, Robin," and I said, "You got to show me love." But I put it on my Instagram. And I had the big teeth. You know how you have the little app that gives you the big teeth, and I was singing her song.
Right.
And she said, "Hey, CeCe, finally." It's on my Instagram. So I sang to her, and she sang to me. And I posted it. It was really cute.
Yeah, I got to go look at that because that is amazing. I
have like those big teeth. You know how they're big choppers on the app? From
on the filter.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is crazy. That is crazy, but like I said, those songs will live on forever because anybody know. Because like I was telling my mom today, I said I'm doing an interview with CeCe Peniston, and she was like, I said, "You don't even know who that is, do you?" She was like, "I know the name," so I said, she sang, "Finally it has happened to me," right? And she was like, "Okay, I know who it is." I said, exactly. So those songs live forever.
Well, I appreciate that, definitely.
Of course. And then I just have one last question for you. If you could describe yourself in 3 words, what would they be?
Fun, animated, and determined.
All right. Yeah, I think determined.
Let me say this. Entrepreneur, animated, and determined.
Okay. That works. Let me just say, obviously we don't know each other personally, but from what I've seen from you from the Unsung and from your career and that kind of stuff, it obviously looks as if you won't be stopped. Even with the obstacles and the things that come your way, you still find a way to press forward, and that's something that I really admire from you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, and thank you for today. And if you have a flyer or anything that I can post up about the interview, I did that yesterday. With just let me know when I can, so I can give a shout out and at you on it and everything. Whenever you're ready.
No problem.
Okay.
I'll most likely do that today. But I'll definitely let you know so that you can post that. And before you go, just let everybody know where they can find you at on the social media and any singles they can pick up and where they can get it at.
Okay, beautiful. So, hey, everybody, follow me on Instagram at CeCe Peniston, on Twitter at CeCe_Peniston. Follow me on the official CeCe Peniston Facebook fan page and CeCePeniston.com. New music coming out, song called Hot. Fire music you can get, Reflections of a Disco Ball, Purple Funk, I Wish, and other new music coming soon on iTunes and different websites, so CeCePeniston.com as well. So just FYI.
All right. And Ms. CeCe, like I said, I just want to thank you for today. I'm forever grateful to you for this opportunity because you didn't have to do it. And you've been nothing but a pleasure to speak to today, okay?
All right. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.
All right, man.
All right. Bye-bye.